Alrighty guys, we're back for some Reckless Jank, and this is a March of the Machine, the Aftermath Standard Brew. We're gonna go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Red Cat and I play aggro decks and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to ya. Also, we do got that Discord link down in the description if you're interested in joining that up. Okay, what do we got in the build? Reckless Handling is a new one. It's a 2-mana sorcery speed. It's an uncommon, so that's cool. Search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle, then discard a card at random. Oh boy. If an artifact card was discarded this way, Reckless Handling deals 2 damage to each opponent. Okay, so overall it's probably going to be janky, but it's going to be interesting to see how often the card just ends up being broken instead, right? Grabbing any artifact from the deck seems like it should be powerful, but the randomness of the discard, that scares me a little bit, right? So, got another new one in here. Karn Legacy Reforged is a 5-mana legendary artifact creature, and Karn's power and toughness are each equal to the greatest mana value among artifacts you control. So, at the very least, it's going to be a 5/5, which is not half bad. At the beginning of your upkeep, you add a colorless mana for each artifact you control. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells naturally. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. This seems like it should be some seriously powerful ramp into our late game cards or our top end, right? So we have some pretty good stuff on the top end here. All 4 Cityscape Levelers is an 8-mana 8/8 trample. And when you cast this spell, or whenever Cityscape Leveler attacks, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a tapped Power Stone token, then it has Unearth for 8 as well. I'm opting for all 4 of the Cityscape Levelers because I think it's going to be a great one to grab from the deck with the Reckless Handling because, honestly, just to have multiple of these in hand, to have a better chance of discarding one of these seems like it should be pretty powerful, right? Because then whenever we end up discarding one, we just eventually unearth it from the grave or unearth multiple of them depending on how much ramp we're actually getting in the later game, right? So it really depends. Also on the top end, a single portal to Phyrexia. Maybe it's a mistake only having one of these in here, but we'll see. I wasn't really going for like a reanimator style deck or anything, so I think one will be fine, especially when we can always find this one portal with the Reckless Handling and then hopefully not discard it at random. Very tiny vehicle theme in here. We have a single Surgehacker Mech, mainly because I was just looking for more artifacts that knew how to be removal as well. So we don't get to see this one too often. It's a 4-mana 5/5 with Menace. It's a vehicle, so you crew it for 4. When it enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to twice the number of vehicles you control to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Honestly, you're going to be doing 4 damage quite often because imagine playing a deck with Reckoner Bankbuster and not seeing it. I can't imagine it. This card is always in our hand whenever we play with it, so got all 4 of them in here. It's going to be terrific, man. Just the extra card draw alone is going to be excellent. Everything about Bankbuster is going to be good in this one. Also have an unlicensed hearse here too. We are seeing a lot of Reanimator, a lot of Atraxa, and just like a lot of decks that care about Graveyard in general. So having a 2-mana vehicle with Crew 2 and you tap it to exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard is probably going to be pretty powerful, and it's not a bad way to help you wrap up a game that's gone on a while too, because this can get pretty tough, or it could have a lot of power and toughness in the late game. So unlicensed hearses, power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards exiled with it. It's not unheard of to have this just be an 8/8 or something like that. So yeah, it's not half bad, guys. And since it works as a vehicle, it works with the Surgehacker Mech, so that could be pretty cool. And since it's an artifact, we can always find it from the deck with Reckless Handling. So if the opponent is doing graveyard shenanigans, right, then we can find that hearse and hopefully not randomly discard it, right? Okay, more artifacts in here. Mightstone, Weakstone, of course, just being card draw or emergency removal. It's just amazing. And ramp for this deck too, so yeah. Thran Spider happens to be alright. A 2/4 with reach works well against decks like mono red aggro with all their phoenixes flying about. So when it enters the battlefield, Of course, you and target opponent each create a tapped Power Stone token. And the bottom ability actually might come into play in this deck too. For 7 mana, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. In a deck with Karn, if we are seriously ramping off of that Karn every turn, then I think the Thran ability is, I mean, I think it's very likely that we would use it, especially in a longer like mid-range match. So got a little bit of ramp on Celestus, and you guys know when I play Celestus, I like to have some 1 mana removal. So I opted for Flame Blessed Bolt this time, mainly because I am seeing a lot of Phoenix Chick, and you know, I mean, cards like Tenacious Underdog and everything are still floating about too. Flame Blessed Bolt, the exile ability on it really comes in handy. So anything else in the front here? Yeah, Brotherhood's End, guys. And of course, 4 Fable of the Mirror Breakers. I know, but I can't imagine not having all 4 of them in here. Maybe after some matches, maybe we want more Thran Spiders or something. I could see dropping down to 2 Fables and going up to 4 Thran Spiders. The problem is this card just gives you so much value anyways. And, you know, it creates the treasure tokens, which act as artifacts, which you can always keep on the board for like the Karn and stuff like that. And just like, in general, just way too powerful, huh? So the Brotherhood's End is a 3 mana sorcery. We get to choose one of these, and if you ever choose the bottom ability, then it is looking rough for you, buddy. Where it's really in here for the top ability, where it deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. And the bottom ability is destroy all artifacts with mana value 3 or less, and that probably picks up 3 of your Bankbusters at that point. So you probably don't want to do that, right? Okay, guys, now I think that's everything. The mana base, 27 land. I don't think we're going to have an issue finding the mana or sending extra mana to the middle chapter on Fable. I think that'll be fine too. I think having extra mana in a deck that's randomly discarding with the Reckless Handling is going to be important, because there's going to be moments where you're like, okay, I have the 5th mana in hand, and then you discard it to the Reckless Handling and you're like, crap, now I need to draw the 5th mana again. And so having 27 makes sense to me. A couple of them are a Mech Hangar, so that way we have that bottom ability here. Let me read it. It's a 3 for 3 mana. You can tap it. Target vehicle becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. So being able to crew up things like Surgehacker Mech with just a 5/5 menace, I mean, that can obviously help you close up games. I think having 2 of these is going to be completely fine in here. And, you know, if we end up having to wipe the board full of creatures that we have, of all of our, like, goblin tokens and everything like that, then even being able to crew up, like, an unlicensed hearse could be fine and help us wrap up a game. We have a Hall of Tagsin here. So you can tap it for a colorless, you can pay 1, tap it and add 1 mana of any color, or you can pay 4, tap it and create a tapped Power Stone token. I think in this deck that might actually come in handy, huh? A couple of these land are Crucible of Defiance. There are going to be moments where having 2 Crucibles holds you up, but in a deck with 27 total land, I think we're going to be fine. And just having an extra one as a little bit of utility to get some spirits on the board seems good. And then 22 Mountains, of course. Honorable mentions, guys. So, it was almost a capricious Hellraiser deck, and I think overall with a card like Reckless Handling, that makes more sense since we're discarding cards anyways. But we just did a Hellraiser deck over the weekend too, and I wanted to just make something a little different. Speaking of Hellraiser decks, if that is the route we went, then Scrapwork Mutt could have been pretty cool. I almost leaned even further into the vehicle theme, but I think that would have really leaned us into jank, because we would have had to potentially use cards like Marauding Dreadship, which isn't half bad. Like, you get like the extra artifact from the incubator too. But it's just not what the deck is trying to do at all, you know what I mean? Horde Hauler's a pretty neat one, and it works well with cards like Thran Spider and stuff, so it is something I thought about. The Karn Living Legacy didn't make the cut because in and of itself, it's just a planeswalker. It's not actually an artifact, so Visions of Phyrexia I thought about, the extra Power Stone and the extra, like, I guess you could call it card draw. Could be good, but not this time round. Burn Down the House didn't make the cut, which seems super sketchy to me. Skitterbeam Battalion could have been an excellent top end, and then Mirrex. Maybe we should have squeezed a Mirrex into the mana base as just an extra way to get artifacts onto the board, and maybe potentially an extra way to help us wrap up a game as well. So Just something to think about, guys. That's why they're in the honorable mentions. Okay, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked and see how we do. All right, guys, what am I expecting from the build? I mean, it's in the title. I called it Reckless Jank for a reason. I think it's going to be janky, but it's not like I put it together in anticipation to lose every match either. So I think there's going to be, like, I think there's going to be some surprises every now and then. Oh, opponent goes first, and this is a very slow hand. Aww. Well, we're keeping it. Let's give it a shot, huh? You never know, man. Hey, reckless handling. All right. All right. Mono blue. Well, this could be a pain. But honestly, if they counter, they might not even counter the reckless handling. It's not bad if they do end up dropping a counter on this. We're more concerned about them dropping counters on our later stuff, which at this point, like, you know, having nothing established on the board, we're going to have to get really lucky with what the opponent has in their hand. So the Spell Pierce, I suppose we... So Bankbuster's a great draw, and Bankbuster would be great to get on the board. So I'm going to hold for the turn, so that way we have 2 mana open for the Bankbuster. If Bankbuster gets countered now, then the only... I mean... I mean, obviously we give them the draw, we give them the turn of not doing anything, but I think Bankbuster needs to land, guys. I think it does. Like, we don't have anything guaranteed off the top of the deck. So let's give it a shot here. We have 2 open for a Spell Pierce and a Make Disappear. We do know Mono Blue runs. There it is! Okay! So it landed, so now we can get our draw off of the Bankbuster then. This is excellent, guys. We might as well wait until their turn to do the draw. Consider. Because, you know, they don't entirely know what's in our deck right now, so they might think it's something. I don't know. Yay, Delver didn't flip. Let's go. Alright, they swing for 1. Haughty Djinn, they definitely have protection open for that in one form or another. Okay, Thran Spider's not bad. So Surgehacker Mech hitting this board, taking care of the Djinn, could be huge. But like I said, they wouldn't play the Djinn if they didn't have a counterspell open. So let's think about this. Karn wouldn't be a bad one for them to counter. Mightstone and Weakstone also hits the Haughty Djinn. Maybe it's just Karn. Because if Karn lands, then it's really good on this board. We have so much extra mana to cast everything in our hand. If they drop a counter for Karn, maybe that's one less counter in their hands that we can potentially hit the Haughty Djinn with next turn then. So, wow. 3 Spell Pierce in the grave whenever they did the Thirst for Discovery. I didn't see what they discarded. 3 Spell Pierce and a Make Disappear. They have the Slip Out the Back available now. We're down to 10. Mech Hangar is completely fine. So Thran Spider blocks the Aberration quite well. We know they have the Slip Out the Back. And we can't double down on anything fancy here. Everything's in the air. If we start with Mightstone Weakstone and they end up dropping the counter, then we can't play the Thran with it. And then we just die next turn. If we go Thran, we have 3 open. We can draw on Bankbuster and see if we see one of our 1 mana removal. Sorry, opponent, I'm thinking, buddy, these mono blue lists are so hard to play against. Alright, we risk it, man. We risk it. 3 of their Spell Pierce and a Make Disappear is in the grave. If we can drop this Mightstone Weakstone, and if the protection is just to Slip Out the Back over a counterspell, then we got the Thran. The 4th Spell Pierce, guys! Oh no! Alright, good game, opponent. Oh my goodness. They get the crying one. They get the crying emote. A 4th Spell Pierce. I think that there was a good chance that they had pretty much any other counter spell in hand too. Like, let's be real, man. Didn't have to be the Spell Pierce. Even if we tried the Thran Spider, they could have had another counter spell for that. And pretty much anything would have been tough to get around there, I think. You guys will have to let me know, could I have played that one out a little better? If we would have let our Bankbuster get countered earlier, if we would have just played it and let them Spell Pierce that too, then maybe, well, it depends, right? It depends which Spell Pierces they discarded off of their card draw there, off of their Thirst for Discovery, right? So yeah, I don't know. It really depends. Like Flame Blast Bolt, that could have been good in the last game, but then we knew that they had a Slip Out the Back available too. All right, we go first here. Have like early removal, I guess. Everything else is pretty late game here, but we got a lot to draw. Like we got a lot of 3 mana cards and everything. What do we got? Spara's Headquarters. Okay. Okay. I don't know what this could be yet, but I suppose it could be like a Union of the Third Path deck. Run Spara's Headquarters sometimes, right? There we go. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Beautiful. Beautiful. Do we send the Flame Blessed Bolt? Maybe not. Mirex exists here. I don't entirely know what we're up against. Ossification. Okay. Okay, it's not too bad for us. Let's do one of the mountains. Let's do, because we have 27 in here, man. We could do both of the mountains, honestly. We probably find more, but let's do Cityscape Leveler, since it has the Unearth. Unlicensed Hearse, huh? Another Flame Blessed Bolt. I mean, I guess we're 1 mana short from creating a Power Stone. I guess let's get that Hearse down, huh? And I guess we could always grab the mountain. I guess we could always, because it is up to 2, so we don't have to hit the Cityscape Leveler. Oh, a little bit of ramp off Invasion of Zendikar here. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure these Flame Blessed Bolts are going to do too much against this deck, guys. Don't really know what's going on, so grab the mountain, submit one. Cityscape Leveler, all right. The Mightstone, Weakstone probably just draw. I mean, well, obviously there's nothing to remove over here, but okay, Crucible, Mightstone, Weakstone, draw 2. There's the mana we need for the first Cityscape Leveler. And yeah, we don't want to remove the Leveler from our grave, so I think this is fine. Man, it really depends what the opponent has up their sleeve, because I have no idea right now. We're going to try to just straight up cast this Leveler. And maybe, yeah, I mean, hit the Bankbuster. That's pretty good. They have a couple Mirex over there, too. Ossification. All right, what do you think they want to hit? Mightstone, Weakstone, I suppose. So we're going to have to take the turn. Oh, they're going to hit Reflection. Ooh. I guess that might be a better target than Mightstone, Weakstone, because if I had, like, something that hits enchantments, I don't know right now what... I guess Cityscape Leveler hits enchantments. So actually, that might be a good target. Get the Fable back, get that ball rolling. But the card draw on the Bankbusters, they did see 2 of them though. I mean, it's gotta be get the Fable back, right? Over the Bankbusters? I think so. That seems pretty good, man. Hey, this could be a Tamiyo safekeeping. Tamiyo safekeeping would protect an enchantment, so... So we get the Fable ball rolling again. That's awesome, dude. And I'll tell you what, we got big damage coming through next turn if they don't do something to these levelers and whatnot. I'll probably pick this up over swinging with the hearse. I think that's what I'll end up doing. Alright, end turn. Because we can do the unlicensed hearse ability on their turn too, especially if they end up dropping something that targets their grave. Leyline Binding, oh boy. So the other Cityscape Leveler from the grave would be awesome here. So with Leyline Binding, Ossification, just some amazing pieces of removal packed into the opponent's deck. They got the Bankbuster for draw, Invasion. I have no idea what we're up against, but I guess it's a domain build, right? They have their Triome. Invasion grabs basics, right? 2 basics. And Leyline Binding has domain. Yeah, Herd Migration. Wow. Wow. Yeah, you know what? Brotherhood's End would be terrific right now. They're even crewing up the Bankbuster. Like they're not playing around, dude. They are not playing around. They're going for it. Swinging with both. What's our hearse? Our hearse is 1 and it can only be a 3/3. Crap. Yeah, these are gonna get through. We should probably block one. Maybe we block the one that's swinging at the Invasion of Zendikar. They might want to swing both at Invasion, just to guarantee the flip. All right, so I'm gonna take 4 and make sure they don't flip this Invasion for now. How do you guys feel about that? We got Leveler coming out of the grave, hitting the Leyline Binding, so we'll have the... See, they have 15 on the board from the 3/3s. Oh man. Our Flame Blessed Bolts do nothing. We're going to send both of those. We're looking for Brotherhood's End, and we want to do 3 damage to everything. Alright, Ossification, Herd Migration. Alright, let's see what we see. Both Flame Blessed Bolts. I mean, the extra mountain... No, I'm going to keep the extra mountain. I don't think these Flame Blessed Bolts are going to do anything against this build. So let's get him out of here. Portal to Phyrexia. Oh my. I mean, that kind of sort of works, right? We're going to be taking a lot from the Bankbuster. Geez. Decisions, guys. We can cast the other Leveler, hit the Leyline Binding, get this Leveler. We'll have 2 Levelers on the board. We're at 16, though. I guess it's Portal. And they're going to flip the Invasion of Zendikar. The biggest problem with Portal is Leyline Binding can hit it easily. Exile target non-land permanent, so yeah. And they've only played 1 Binding so far. Luckily, you know, getting rid of 3 of their creatures is good. Cool deck, opponent. I appreciate just having something different that we're not used to facing. So I appreciate that. Okay, so they can corrupt Bankbuster. They swing 1 Bankbuster to face for 4. They swing a 3/3 to the Zendikar, flip the Zendikar. They go for a draw on the other Bankbuster, keeping their hand nice and stocked here, guys. So Portal's gonna res the Cityscape Leveler, but that's only when we cast it when we get the removal side of the Leveler. So we probably cast this one, hit the binding, just try to have like all 3 of them on the board then. Wow, they just go for draws. I guess they didn't have to get the extra damage to face. That makes more sense. Cycle the headquarters. Okay. I like that we are showing a little bit of anti-synergy on our board with having Portal and the unlicensed Hearse, both of them just being one-ofs, which is pretty funny. So we're going down to 13, they're flipping this, and this has Vigilance and Haste. Yeah, we can't corrupt the Hearse or anything fancy, so at least we'll get another chump blocker on the Reflection. So how do we want to do this, guys? I'm assuming just getting a legion of Cityscape Levelers on the board is going to be good enough for now, but with all the card draw they had, what are the odds that they just find even more removal? Maybe pretty good. So if we start with Mightstone, Weakstone, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll have 4 mana open, plus the 2 here, that's 7. So if we see a mana off the top, we go Mightstone, Weakstone, -5/-5, the Awakened Skyclave. We play the other mana, then go right into Cityscape Leveler for 8. Hit the binding, get this Leveler back onto the board as well. And then, I guess, next turn we're just looking at the Unearth on this Leveler. Alright, let's go ahead and pick up some stuff. We'll go ahead and grab the 2 Flame Blessed Bolts. That's fine. Totally fine. We don't need them. Don't need them in there. Just trying to eventually get the unlicensed Hearse. Oh, that's right. We have the Portal ability here too. Nice. Oh, well, that would have been good last turn. Jeez, man. Jeez, bro. All right, well. It's like I said, we shouldn't have enough mana if I do this. We only have 7 open. So I'd rather just play the Leveler. Play the Leveler, hit the binding. Yeah, we'll just have a legion of Cityscape Levelers on the board. And you know what? Like, a Depopulate isn't that good against this board state, because we'll still have these in the grave. Having Reflection seems to be, like, alright, too, because we'll be able to swing in with the copy of the Levelers. So, Leyline Binding number 2, probably, right? No? Because they still have 4 cards in hand. And they've only seen 2 ossifications and 1 binding, and I'm assuming it's all 4 bindings, right? Because that's probably the best piece of removal in their deck. Well, the Skyclave acts as land too. Okay, binding. Okay. So they have a tough decision. If they pick up a Leveler, Reflection copies Levelers, and then we swing with them, and then we just start destroying everything. So they must have removal on their turn too, is my assumption. That's what I'm thinking. Reckoner Bankbuster draw. I'm assuming they're just looking for more removal here too. Italy. Oh no. Oh no, guys. Alright, we need to somehow keep these Levelers on this board state I wonder what they're gonna hit. I'm gonna let it be a surprise instead of clicking on the exile to see. I'm gonna let it be a surprise. So if we pick up a tally, Archangel of Wrath, nice. That's a good one. It's like 5-color good stuff. I wonder if this is a 1 of or a 2 of, or if this is like their main strategy for late game. It might be. Don't really know, but I like the opponent's deck. It seems decent. Reckless Handling, that's what they ended up hitting off of us, huh? Reckless Handling, like, that wouldn't have been bad for us to see, honestly. We would have grabbed the 4th Cityscape Leveler and seen what we discarded. And if it was the Leveler, we would have it Unearthing in the grave or Portal to Phyrexia, right? So. Alright. Luckily for us, they did not hit too much. They didn't hit an Atraxa, so. Still have the Unlicensed Terse here. They have 1 mana available, which it could be another Leyline Binding. Either way, we're going to be probably destroying both of them next turn. See where they end up swinging. Well, they're not going to be swinging. What am I saying? Our 8/8s are huge. Yeah, Leyline Binding number 3 isn't too bad for us because of the Leveler, so. I'm thinking. Mightstone, Weakstone hits the Archangel. Alright. So let's go ahead. Pick the Binding and the Proving Ground out of their grave. That's fine. And then I suppose, because if we start swinging with the Cityscape Levelers and we take out the Atali, we can eventually bring back the Atali with our Portal to Phyrexia, which just seems so mean on so many levels. At any point, we have to be prepared for the Atraxa just cast out. They have enough mana. Wait, they don't have blue. Oh yes, they do. Spar's headquarters. Okay. So Atraxa being cast out would be a pain, but again, we just kill it with the Cityscape Leveler. Just Cityscape Leveler doing everything for us here. Bankbuster, not bad, man. Not bad. We could go for the draw, too. On the Mightstone and Weakstone. I'm more interested to see what they end up. Is it going to be their 3rd now? Leyline Binding on the Leveler ruins the Reflections ability. We still probably go for the swing and hit the Atali then. And then maybe Mightstone the Archangel, because we are at 13. We have to be a little bit cautious. Am I missing anywhere where they have even more mana? No, they should only have the 1 for the Binding, I'm assuming. So they want to hit Leveler before it copies. No! Oh, buddy. This is going to be a swing and a half, guys. I mean, this is 24 on the board, and it's all trample, so maybe. I just don't know what's left in their hand. I'd rather hit the Binding over here, but if we can get lethal damage through, then we should go for it, right? Because that should only be 4 block on the ground here, and then we have 24 swinging in. So I mean, it should be 20 damage. The problem is going that route, yeah. We just don't know if this last treasure is the Leyline Binding. And so if we knew, then we would want to pop the first Binding and grab the Cityscape Leveler. Is that it? I think we might have gotten there, guys. Make sure the 5 gets through. And the 7 gets through. Let's go! GG opponent, man. Just again, thank you for playing something a little different. You gave us quite the puzzle to get through, and I'm glad I took this risk at the end to get that 20 through regardless. That treasure could have been anything, guys. It really, really could have been anything. Cityscape Leveler just showing off at that point. Just showing like how powerful it can actually be. Guys, the games have been long, but we're gonna try to get one more in before we wrap up the video. I'm having a good time. We didn't get to see Reckless Handling do a thing yet. The one time we had it, it was countered, and did we see it that last game? The opponent saw it, so I mean, that's something, I guess. This is a decent hand, bro. This is decent. No Spell Pierce from the opponent this time. Bankbuster hits the board. Coppercoat Vanguard, oh boy. This could be an uphill battle right away. I'm glad we went first here. We have a turn 4 Mightstone Weakstone thanks to the Thran Spider. Adeline, nice. Can't really swing with the Vanguard, yeah. Be an easy block for us. Wow, Karn, Legacy Reforged. So the Ward 1 on Adeline makes it so that way we might just go Karn. Could always hit Vanguard for the -5/-5, but Adeline is a much better target, so... Alright. Not bad. Not a bad board state for turn 4, guys. It really isn't. And obviously the Mightstone would have helped us. Okay, so we have 6. So we have the ward cost to hit the Cathar, get the Karn back, and then we ramped into Leveler pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and crew up the Bankbuster here to make sure we have blockers. Okay, no swings. Very nice. Brotherhood's End, wow. That hits Brutal Cathar and Copper, but we might want to save it for now. We might. Just pay all 6 for the Cathar for now. Because a deck like this really knows how to go wide sometimes. Pay all 6 for Adeline could be good too, but right now Karn blocks so well that I think we just want to do this. I think that makes sense. The problem is the Brotherhood's End doesn't hit the Adeline, where the Mightstone Weakstone does, but Cityscape Leveler hits pretty much everything, so. Alright, we got him in a nice locked down state for now. Because if it ends up being more Brutal Cathars, eventually our Brotherhood's End just takes care of it, you know? Nice, they could use the Power Stone for the adversary, yep. If they pay all of it, then the Intrepid Adversary still doesn't get over the Brotherhood's End, luckily, but yeah, the Adeline is still a pain in the butt. So if we crew up Bankbuster, we double block Adeline for sure. For sure. And I think we might double block with... Okay, I don't know. We might want to save Karn regardless, right? We could take the 6, just block the 4/3 with Karn. I think that's fine. Take 7, actually, yeah. I think that's fine, and the main reasoning is the fact that we're just going to get a bunch of extra mana to play Leveler and Brotherhood's End next turn, and then Brotherhood's End doesn't hit anything, guys, so... On our board. Alright, we got 5 extra mana. Mightstone Weakstone number 2. Very nice. Alright, so if we go Brotherhood's End first. Yes, Brotherhood's End first, right? We go 3 damage to everything. Then we go Cityscape Leveler, hit the Adeline. Have another Power Stone, buddy. We got a great swing and we're doing it. Yeah, GG opponent, let's go, guys. Look at that board state, man. We were about to swing for 10. I called it reckless jank. Maybe it's not as janky as I'm thinking, but I mean, honestly, I don't know, man. I really don't. Let's go over the deck again, because unfortunately we're about 40 minutes in. That middle match took a while, but I think it was so worth it. Look, guys, we got a pack. Let's crack it, huh? March of the Machine. Let's see what we get here. We got one of these older cards, I guess. Jury Master of Revu. Oh my goodness, somebody help me with pronunciations. Hey, the Thalia and the Gitrog monster. That might be my third one. I have yet to make a deck around this, guys. Could be an interesting one. That three color combination is so rare for me to make a deck around. I don't even know what it's called right now. Usually I know. I can't think of it. I can't. White, black, green. What's that color combination called, guys? I literally, I can't think of it. We just don't play it very often at all, so. Reckless jank, guys. What did we learn? Number one, you don't need the reckless handling for it to be a decent. So if you want it to be less janky, you could just drop the reckless handling. Just go up some removal. I don't think you'll complain about that at all, right? Couple of braids, maybe more utility removal like Cathartic Pyre to help you like filter at some point if you're not using any of your other removal and stuff like that. I think overall, like, you know, Fable of the Mirrorbreaker obviously showed a lot of its power too, just being able to filter out the Flame Blast Bolt when we knew we weren't going to be able to use it, and just everything about that. I think the one Portal to Phyrexia was completely fine, and that's an issue, right? If you do end up dropping the Reckless Handling, the number of artifacts that I chose for a lot of these, like a lot of one-ofs in here, one of Unlicensed Hearse, one of Portal, one of Surgehacker, one of Celestus, you're kind of getting rid of that concept where we could just find them from the deck, put them into our hand, right? So, I mean, that's something to consider for sure. That first match against Mono Blue, unfortunately, like, we had a lot in hand. If it was anything other than Mono Blue, I think we would have been pretty solid overall. We had the Surgehacker Mech, we had the Mightstone and Weakstone, we had all the mana we needed. Speaking of all the mana we needed, guys, 27 was pretty good. I like it. Yeah, I would not drop a land. I would definitely not go up a land, right? Especially when we are filtering off of Fable and stuff like that, too. A lot of great ramp. How many matches did we play today? Like 3? I mean, some more testing is obviously required regardless, but Thran Spider did a lot today, which was awesome. Just that extra little Power Stone. Having a turn 4/5 drop, either Mightstone or Karn, happens to be very powerful, which I guess we could make the argument for dropping a Fable and going up a Thran. Having 3 of each could be good. And if you're really finding that you often have to have a turn 4/5 drop, then I could see the 4th Thran. I totally could, guys. You know, all of our 5 drops are artifacts, so that Power Stone ramps us into it regardless, and then that Power Stone remains good for the rest of the game for you because everything on the top end is an artifact. So we didn't really get to see the Mech Hangar do anything today, but at some point it will help you close up a game. I do believe that. That being said, I could see dropping down to 1 if it's ever getting in your way, just being colorless. I could see dropping it. Maybe we go up that Mirex I was talking about, right? I could see dropping it down to 1, just going up a mountain too. I think you'd be fine. And at that point, if the Crucibles are ever holding you up, right, because they're legendary, you can drop that, go up the 24th mountain too. So really depends. I opted just to have more utility land overall, and I don't think it's going to hold you up too often. So guys, yeah, this was a fun time. I think we had some great matches today, which is awesome. If you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.